Hello, my name's Andy Durrant from Race Technology. This is a short video about the DASH2 PRO. The DASH2 PRO is a combined digital dashboard with integrated data logging and GPS receiver. So this is the unit as the customer receives it in a plastic case with a cut foam interior. There's a number of accessories included, but this is the main product. So those of you familiar with our products will realise this looks very similar to the DASH2. However, this is the DASH2 PRO, and the way to tell them apart is the DASH2 PRO has a small silver label here compared with the DASH2, which has an orange label. So externally they look very similar, but internally they're completely different products with very different capabilities. So to describe the unit in general, the enclosure is a pressure die cast metal enclosure, so it's very tough. It's water resistant because the whole thing is O-ringed and sealed. Across the top here we have 6 shift lights. These are programmable colour, so they can be red or green. Normally used for shift lights, but also used for alarms when, for example, oil pressure goes too low. There's a large screen area here. So this is a transflective LCD display. What does that mean? Well, it works in 2 different modes. When there's a limited amount of light, then there's a backlight which shines through the display so it can be seen in complete darkness. However, when there's sunshine, it hits the back of the display, which is semi-mirrored, and reflects out through the LCD. And the combination of those technologies means it can be seen in the brightest sunshine or in complete darkness. That's in contrast to something like a smartphone, which only uses a backlight. So the more sunlight that hits it, the more difficult it is to read. So this display technology is absolutely ideal for an automotive environment where it can be used in a single seater or a motorcycle, and you don't have to worry about viewing angle or the amount of sunshine on it. Across the bottom we've got LED indicators, and these are all the LED indicators needed for road legal considerations. So for example, indicators, brake fluid, charging indicator and so on. They're all the indicators that are needed to pass an IVA or an MOT test. So if you install one of these dashboards for a road legal application, you don't need any more indicators in the car. They're all available there for you. The unit's very thin, so it's only 15mm thick, so it's very, very neat in a car, or a motorcycle in fact. The back is also completely flat, so that makes mounting very straightforward. In most applications it just goes onto a flat panel in the car. For mounting there's 3 screw holes here, here and here, and in fact there's an engineering diagram included with the package that can be used as a template for drilling the holes. They're just M4. On the rear we also have the 2 round military spec electrical connections, which again they look very similar to the DASH2, but in fact these have got a lot more pins on them to allow for the increased number of features on the DASH2 PRO. There's also a GPS receiver connection here. So in terms of the other parts that are supplied with the unit, well, first of all we have the GPS antenna. So as I said, the DASH2 PRO has an integrated GPS receiver, and it's a very high quality part. It's nothing like the one that's available in, say, a sat-nav system. The GPS receiver built into here runs at 10 Hz and has very good accuracy. So that's used for applications like lap timing and looking at lines around a racetrack. So that's the GPS antenna. It's mag mount, so it normally just goes on the roof, plugs into the back on the connector which I showed earlier. There's also 2 mini loom assemblies. So these loom assemblies, they connect on the 2 round connectors on the rear, and these break out all the main functions of the DASH2 PRO. So for example, this connection has the CAN connection, serial connections and the USB. So this dashboard's USB for much easier connection to a modern laptop, and this is the other loom which is mainly for the sensors. So for example, water temperature, oil pressure and so on. Finally, there's a lead to help with the PC configuration. So this is just a USB extension lead. So in terms of the technology inside the DASH2 PRO, it's a very advanced unit. So this unit features a 32-bit processor which runs at 400 MHz. That compares with the 8-bit processor in a standard DASH2. And that gives us the extra power to have quite a large number of additional features. So I've already mentioned the GPS receiver, that's integrated. We also have 8 gigabytes of internal memory, so all the data logging is stored on its internal memory, and that can be downloaded via the USB connection. We also have 2 CAN ports, which are completely configurable. So CAN is the type of communication protocol that's used on most race cars. For ECUs, power control modules, chassis electronics, nearly all communications on a race car are on CAN. So this has 2 CAN ports. Normally one is used for an ECU, one is available for other applications as needed. There's also 2 serial ports on there, so some of the aftermarket ECUs still use a serial connection, so that's available on there. In contrast with the Dash 2, which requires an external data converter, all the data conversion is done by the Dash 2 Pro internally, so you don't need any extra boxes. It's just a case of connecting this to the ECU or the power control unit. That will pick up the data, and you can configure the unit to display the data however you wish on the screen. There's also an integrated 3-axis digital accelerometer in there, which is very useful for assessing cornering G-forces, braking points and so on. It has more analog inputs than the Dash 2, the standard Dash 2, so you can connect more sensors. So for example, analog water pressure, fuel level, and there's also 4 outputs from this unit. So typically they can be used to drive solenoids, cooling fans, large indicators in the car, for a variety of different applications. You can also connect one of those outputs to a GoPro to control the starting and stopping of a GoPro camera. Then that video can be combined with the data from the dashboard in our software if you wish to do video and data analysis. So this is a very powerful and very configurable unit. On the front for the display, so that this display is configured with PC software, which I'm not going to demonstrate now, that will be in a separate video. But broadly there's different areas you can put whatever you like, wherever you like. It can switch between screens, it will do lap timing for you, display them at the bottom. It's possible to do predictive lap timing, so you know how much faster or slower that you are compared with the previous lap or a previous event. You can set up alarms on all the different channels, so for parameter, the most obvious example is oil pressure goes below a threshold, then it will flash the LEDs, flash the backlight and give you a warning that there is a problem, so you can take immediate action. So it's very powerful, very configurable. There's all sorts of options that are available for it. I'm not going to go into them all now. This was just a quick introduction and I hope that was of some help. Thank you very much.